Yeah, welcome to Indoor Hydroponics, and I am John, your indoor hydroponic test dummy. Welcome back inside my grow room. Guys, it's been about 4 or 5 weeks-ish since I pulled the bell peppers from the ground, 2 of them, and brought them inside, transplanted them into this pot. What do I got in there? A 50-50 mix of compost and peat, okay? And as you saw from the first clip, all we had in here was stems and a couple of old leaves. 4 or 5 weeks later, and this baby's on its way to becoming a bush. Again, 2 varieties, they both look the same. Here's an example of what's taking place right now. Lots of new shoots coming off, lots of beautiful green leaves, no curl, no wrinkling, no nothing. Couldn't be more pleased with how this is going so far. My only concern is I think it's going too fast. Remember, the intent of overwintering a pepper is to carry it out until the next late spring, early summer, to where we can transplant it back into the ground and begin this second year of growth, this monolithic, huge bell pepper plant. This thing, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in this grow room after another 4 or 5 months of growth. In fact, it's starting to flower, and we'll bring you in a little closer in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about a couple more things. One thing that I want to talk about is the cardinal rule for indoor growing, and that is introducing plants from the outside inside. And what are the potential problems that we may have? No! Fungus gnats. All right, I got fungus gnats. All right, about 2-3 weeks ago. I started to notice these little fellas flying around my grow room, and I started to get a little bit concerned, right? So introducing plants in from the outside, obviously you run the risk of introducing insects inside the house. In addition, you do run the risk of introducing certain diseases and things like that inside the house as well. However, I'm willing to accept that risk in this particular instance, okay? Because I think this is going to be a cool little experiment for me, at least. Now, what do I want to do with fungus gnats? Other than the fact that they're annoying, I don't want an infestation of these things going on in here. So what have I done? I've used these little yellow sticky traps that you can buy at the hydroponics store, you can buy at your local lawn and garden store, or even a big box store, I think, will have these types of things. And lots of different varieties. I like the Tanglefoot ones, but what do I got here? I got one from Sea Bright Laboratories. I like this in the fact that it's non-chemical, it's an attractant, and what the little fungus gnats do is they fly right up to them and pow, they get stuck on it, right? And why do we want them to get stuck on it? Because if they're stuck on here, then they're not laying eggs and larvae here. We want to catch all the adults before they lay eggs and larvae into the potting media, and that's where the life cycle continues. So if we can prevent them from doing that, well, then we're good as gold, right? Another thing we can do here, or I have been doing, is letting the top layer of this potting media, I've been letting it dry out, because the hatch, the larvae, the eggs, they need a moist environment for them to continue on with their life cycle. After a little while in a dry environment, they die off and they don't rehatch, okay? So if we can let this top portion of this potting media dry out, which I've been doing, that will also limit the reoccurrence of these things from infesting your grow room, or at least infesting my grow room. So that is a couple of things that I've been doing, and you know what? Over the last week or 2, there has not been, if any, activity going on in this grow room for fungus gnats. And I like that. Yeah! Check that out, guys. She's already flowering, you know, and it's already got the hormone built into it. The last thing that this plant knew was that it was producing bell peppers. So what does it want to do? It wants to carry on that trait, and it wants to produce bell peppers. And isn't this about the cutest little thing you've ever seen? Check that out. You see that, guys? Look at that little flower. Isn't he a sweetheart? Oops! Oh, man, there's another one right there. Huh? Oh, yeah, guys, I don't really want these things producing peppers so early in the grow, and so I am going to get rid of all the flowering. I don't want any of that going on right now. What I want it to do is to focus as much energy as it can into growing a bigger, better plant. By the way, these things really, at this point in the game, are not going to be producing very big bell peppers at all. It's still focusing a lot of energy into reestablishing itself. It's a cool thing. I might get a pepper or two out of it, and I may even consider growing a few peppers in this room, given the right conditions, but I don't want it to go this early in the game. So, peace out, flowers, and peace out, peppers. I'm starting to look like that guy from Voodoo Garden with a plant and a spray bottle. Regardless, what am I doing? Well, I'm doing a couple of things. First off, during the tail end of last year's indoor grow, I started to notice something weird with my plants, okay? And specifically the pepper plants. Not the tomatoes, not the lettuce, not the cucumbers, but the peppers. Started to notice that they started to form this little webbing in here, right? Like spider webs, only miniature. Well, those are spider mites, okay? And though I didn't introduce any plants inside my grow room last year from the outside, somehow spider mites found their way into a cold Michigan basement and crawled right up in my plants and made a nice little home. And I started to notice some discoloration of leaves and stunted growth, and then I started to notice the webs. And by the time they start to form webs, you've already had an infestation, because it takes a lot of spider mites to start creating webbing on your plants, right? So I'm trying to curb that off. If I'm going to get these things in my house this year, I want to make sure and kill them before they start to kill my plant. So I am spraying underneath all of the leaves. What do I got going on in here? I've got a couple of drops of that dishwashing liquid stuff, right? You know, the stuff that they clean the penguins and the ducks and stuff off with during an oil spill. Just a couple of drops, not much. And then I got about a half a teaspoon of Epsom salt in here in basic tap water, alright? Shake it up a little bit, give your plants a spray. And it's doing a couple of things. The surfactant in here, or the soap, is an enemy to these soft-bodied insects, spider mites, aphids, things like that. And what it does is it dries their skin out, completely kills them. So, if they are on these plants, I am now effectively killing them without introducing some kind of chemical, biological agent inside the room, which I do not want to do. Secondly, if you've ever had an interest in growing any kind of pepper, you know that they love Epsom salt. And they particularly love the foliar feeding effect of it, okay? God, I spit it out, foliar. I'm starting to get it. That is like the hardest word for me to pronounce. Foliar. Got it! Foliar feeding the plants with a mild diluted Epsom salt. They just love it, greens them right up, perks them up, they love it. Alright, so doing a couple of things. I'm feeding, I'm also preventing future infestations of the dreaded spider mite. So guys, thanks for tuning in here. This is the 1 month kind of update on this. I don't know if I'm going to do a monthly update on it. I don't know how much interest you're going to have in that. However, from time to time I'll spin a camera over here and we'll keep an eye on these overwintered bell peppers. Guys, thanks again for watching. You are my heroes. Leave me a comment below. I try to answer them when I can, when I have time. I got that, you know, the 2 kids and the wife and the 40-50 hour job a week thing, but I really do like talking with you guys. So leave me a comment, give me a like, give me a dislike, whatever. Thanks for watching.